Do you need an attorney to file your LLC for you? No, it is not necessary that you have an attorney filing your LLC documents for you. And here's why. Um, First of all, your LLC is a formal document with the state. So it is a formal document. It does have legal implications, such as who is the owner of your company. But the reason you don't need an attorney is because it's asking you more of basic questions. It's just basic information that's going to be that's going to consist of your formal filing with the state. So basic questions like name, address, registered agent, whether it's a member managed company or a manager managed company, and these are questions that you can have explanations to, but you don't need an attorney. This is something that you can very much have a DIY thing and do it yourself. Now, when you get into other things such as the operating agreement, then that might be something where you'd want an attorney because an operating agreement is more nuanced, it's more custom, it's going to be more specific to your state's requirements. So with an operating agreement, then again, this is a risk versus reward thing. Do you want to go on with a subpar operating agreement, or would you like one that's created by an attorney that is familiar with the laws in your state? So that's something you want to think about. But as far as filing with the state, just to get your LLC up and going, you definitely do not need an attorney just to fill out that form for you. It'll get very expensive, and as we all know, cost matters. So if you hire an attorney, it's probably going to be $250 to maybe $1,000 for them to fill out that form for you. Now, speaking to the fact that an attorney is not an absolute necessity, there are filing services such as LegalZoom, I think Biz Inc. or InkFile or something like that. There are several of them, but what they'll do is they'll take the information that you provide to them. Again, it's the basic information. They'll take that information, they will put it on the form for you, and then they will file your LLC document for you, and they'll charge you a fee for that. So you don't need a fee you don't need to have them do that for you, but it is an option. So what I've done is I've created an LLC guide, and actually I've created two. One is specific to Texas, so that's the Texas LLC guide. And if you go to texasllcguide.com, I walk you step by step through filing an LLC in Texas. And then what I've also done is I've created the LLCguide.com, and that's for the other states. If you're in another state and you're having trouble filing or figuring out the form for filing your LLC, what I've done is I've condensed it down to the most frequently asked questions, the things that give people the most trouble and that are generally applicable across the states. I've provided instructions on that. So what I think people are missing is clear, concise language that's in plain English that breaks down and explains exactly what you're being prompted to provide or what the fields are asking you to put in. And there are just a few stumbling blocks when you're filing for your LLC where people are not sure what to do. For example, the manager managed or the member managed. And you need something, and if you read the articles out there, most of them are insufficient to give you a full understanding because, well, first of all, you have the instructions that are actually on your LLC filing form that is provided by the state. So it's the official filing form, is the official instructions. And they are usually vague, ambiguous, somewhat confusing. They intimidate a lot of people into getting the filing services, and they're just not clear. They're not written in a way that normal people talk and normal people can understand. And as an attorney, I see that and I recognize that. And so what I did is I created these guides to break everything down, to take the filing services out of the equation, to save people money. You don't need a filing service to file for you. You just need to understand what is being asked of you specifically. And so what I've done is I've in this guide for all of the remaining states outside of Texas is I've just taken those common questions that keep coming up and I answer them in the clearest, simplest way as possible. Easy to understand, plain English. So that's what's going on here. Back to the original question, do you need an attorney to file for an LLC with your state? I would say 99.9% no. Unless you have some special circumstance or something that's very unique to you, then maybe you'd want to get an advice from an attorney on as to maybe who owns or how you want to, if you've got a very, very complicated LLC and you want to ask something prior to filling out the form itself, again, is just basic information that's going to go on record with the Secretary of State. And it's important to remember that everything that you put into your form for your LLC will be public. So that's something that is very, very important when you're filling out the form. Keep that in mind. And then the operating agreement is where you would get more specific and where you would say things that are going to be how you run and who's going to own your company. And that's something where you would get more specific and where it won't be public and it'll be private to your company, but it will govern how your company is run and owned. So that may be something, again, where you'd want an attorney. But that's the basic overlay here. Do you need one? No. Optimally, would you have one? Yes, of course. But it's a money versus utility thing. And when it comes down to it, you don't need an attorney.